The bullets and the punches and the riots have been flowing in only one direction for too long.
I've been trying to tell you guys this whole time how corrupt all of these things were, and here we are.
It is not our responsibility to fix something they spent years intentionally trying to destroy. Unity can only happen in a country when you have a people who agree on what the outcomes should be. Well, what's up, everybody? Happy Monday. How's it going? I've been watching the comments here.
Monday.
We were late, and they were not going to let us get away with it.
We were not late. I hit the button, and it was still 9:30.
Yes, it was still.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I know. So
we're sitting there. Well, so here's what happened, right? So we're like changing the entire outline in like the last 5 minutes because of some stupid comments from some stupid people out there on the left. What's going on here?
Oh. What do you mean? What's wrong? Something not working?
Sorry.
I don't know.
My phone started playing in my ear for some reason.
Ah, got it.
Oh.
Yeah, some idiots over there on the left were just saying stupid stuff. And SK sent us a video earlier today and, of course, asked us to watch it. And neither Nom or I did until like 9:28. And I'm like, we have to play this. She's like, yeah, I told you that like hours ago,
that's
dude.
why I sent it to you this morning.
So my apologies for being 30 seconds late, folks. But we still hit the button right at 9:30. So technically we were on time. But folks, I think we have a fun show for you tonight. We don't really have a lot planned because honestly, today was pretty boring. I mean,
I didn't make
boring.
a single video. I think I opened TikTok for like 10 minutes total, maybe.
I was on TikTok all day yesterday. I haven't opened that app in months and months, and then I was on it all day yesterday. I debated with chaos. It was actually kind of fun. Do you guys have a good weekend though?
I was telling people at work today that it felt like the weekend just kind of flew by. Nothing consequential at all happened. I mean, the dumbest Super Bowl probably of all time, but I didn't watch it. So it was like,
I didn't even turn it on. I wasn't going to give them the ratings for even 1 second. We went to the OU women's gymnastics meet Friday, and that was fun. Then we got home super late Friday night, but that's about all we did this weekend.
We are having a swimming pool put into our backyard right now. The gunite is curing, so we have to go out and water our concrete every day, which is wild concept to me. But so the skid steer and all that stuff when they were digging the giant hole just destroyed my front yard. So that's what I did all day Saturday was trying to unscrew that mess. And then I played golf yesterday because I live in the South and I can golf when it's 75 degrees in February. And it was fantastic.
Why do I look so washed out? Is it because I've got this stupid, there we go, that's better. Man, my outline on this big monitor in front of me makes me look really washed out. I don't really usually look like that, folks. I promise you. I have some Native American in me. At least that's what my grandma tells us. So I'm not normally this washed out, but you're just going to have to deal with it because I do have an outline here. We're going to try to follow this a little bit, I guess, because I have a couple things on it, but I don't know where the show is going to go. I have no idea. It could just go totally off the rails, but it could be a lot of fun also because there's some really stupid people out there saying and doing really stupid things. Did anyone try to watch any of the Olympics this weekend? Anybody?
Yeah. I watched some. I watched curling all day because curling is my absolute favorite winter Olympic sport, believe it or not. I love freaking curling.
I was trying to explain to my wife the allure of curling to people, and she just does not understand it at all. But she also doesn't understand why I like to put golf on a Sunday afternoon and lay down on the couch because it's like the perfect napping background show. And curling is the same, but I find myself when I watch curling, like sucked into it. It's the most intriguing sport of all time. Could you imagine for a second, folks?
It's
I just
like
want you to think
watching
about
paint
this.
dry. It's watching paint dry.
It is absolutely not. Like,
I'd
think
rather
about
watch
this.
fishing. And that's
think about
terrible.
the years and years and years of practice that somebody has to engage in order to be able to send a 50-pound rock down 100-foot ice sheet and get it to land on a dime. Like, that's not something that anybody could do. You have to practice that for a very long time.
I appreciate the difficulty of it, but it is so boring. There is zero excitement.
There is plenty of excitement. Like, did you not see the? Did you?
They're
Did you
sweeping
not?
ice.
did you not see what the U.S. did both yesterday in their match against Switzerland and then today in their semifinal match against Italy to get to the gold medal match, which the U.S., by the way, in mixed doubles has never done ever. And this mixed doubles team is fan-freaking-tastic, and they're going up against Switzerland again tomorrow for the gold medal match. It'll be a
I
good
have
match.
no idea. I haven't watched a single second, and I enjoy ice skating and stuff, but even some of the skiing. I enjoy a lot of the winter sports, actually. But yeah, I haven't watched any of it.
It is kind of sad, though, if you think about it. I know growing up, Nom and I, hold on, Patriot Princess is trying to show me something. Look at what mommy got you. What did mommy get you? That is, hold on a second. It's so funny that she just brought this here because in the comments, they were talking about how MAGA Meg made nuggets for people. You guys see that? If you go up in the comments, apparently she made chicken nuggets and everyone was talking about wanting chicken nuggets. Apparently, my wife just gave this to Patriot
Emotional
Princess.
support nuggets. That's
Emotional
cute.
support nuggets. So there you go. If y'all wanted some emotional support nuggets, we have them here too. You are very pale. Patriot Vicky. Yes, I am very pale, and it's not my fault. It's because I've got here, I'm going to move this because apparently it's not working out for some people. So I had an outline on the big monitor here in front of me. For those of you guys that
It's a white background. It's a white background.
It's a bright white background on a giant monitor right here in front of my face, and it was making me look washed out.
Yeah.
Anyway, so it is kind of sad though, because growing up, Nom, do you agree? The Olympics were like something we look forward to. I used to look forward to watching the Olympics, and now I just can't get into it. And it probably has something to do with these woke-tard idiots who think that it's okay to go outside of the United States and crap all over their country. I know that MAGA Meg and Claire did some incredible content on this on their show last night, and I was in the background kind of producing as we're helping them figure out how to do it on their own. And I wanted to jump in so many times in that conversation and just tell these Olympic athletes to shut up. Nobody cares what you think. We don't care at all what you think. Not even a little bit. So shut up. Just shut up.
Yeah, the worst gymnastics girl. We watch gymnastics. That's it.
Yeah, the worst part about it is the media who's intentionally trying to get these people who, I mean, frankly, these are not politically savvy, smart people. They devote probably every waking second of their life to this one thing that they do, this one sport, this one activity that they do in order to be as good as they are. They don't have any concept of what is actually going on in the country. So, you know, the ice bullshit. Listen, they probably read some headlines and they watched some Jimmy Kimmel, once or twice, and that's where their entire opinion comes from. But it's the media who's intentionally putting these microphones in front of their face to get them to say the things that they think they're supposed to say, because somehow they've been convinced that half the country or the majority of the country believes it. We don't. We've seen the polling. The polling is correct. President Trump and what he's doing with ICE and mass deportation. Oh, yeah. Yeah. The polling is clear. These Olympic athletes are not clear. I'm sorry. You are not cut out. I don't know how to curl. I'm not going to. I don't know how to do the ski jump thing. I don't know how to do the slalom or the downhill. Stay in your lane and I'll stay in mine. How's that?
That's right. That's right. So apparently Hunter Hess, who was the one that kind of kicked off all of the nonsense, is the second rated half-pipe snowboarder in the world. So this guy actually has a really good chance to stand on the medal stand and collect a medal for the United States. How much you want to bet? And I could be wrong about this. And if I am, I will eat crow. But how much you want to bet he ends up falling on his ass a couple times, a little bit of poetic justice, and doesn't even make the medal stand? How much you want to bet? Because
interesting.
We'll see.
He's backtracked that initial claim though. He got in front of. He had another. He had another opportunity to answer that question a little bit differently. I don't know exactly what he said, but I did see some folks some commentary saying that he's starting to backtrack on that.
Good. Well, your initial reaction as an athlete at that level should be, I have no comment on things outside of what's happening right here in my Olympic sport. If you want to talk about that, let's wait till the Olympics are over.
Yeah.
Like that's not hard.
if you are blessed enough to get a spot on the Olympic team, it would be best to not trash your country while you're representing your country in another country, which I also have beef with our Congress for doing the same shit and standing with foreign countries when they should have been standing with Donald Trump regardless. I didn't like Biden, didn't like his policy, but you know what? When it came to choosing between Biden and a foreign country, I'm going to stand with my president.
That's right. That's right. That's right. Nom, you said you want to do a little bit of housekeeping before we start.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Well, the super chats are turned on, obviously, and so are the Rumble rants. And guys, I don't even have a sticky on my monitor anymore. I know what it is. It's Rumble rants. I've got it figured out. But we also have memberships open on YouTube. You can become a Patriot Source Network member. Now, we just figured that out about a half an hour ago. So I have no idea what you're going to get. We may
Well,
do
I just
like
found out with everybody else. I didn't even know.
Yeah. So so Patriot Dad's been talking about, doing like some little bit longer form individual stuff, like 15 minutes, because sometimes it's impossible to do a short term 3.5 minute long video and get all the stuff in there, but you don't want to do a full hour on this. So there's an opportunity to do some members only, maybe 10, 15 minute longer form stuff when we got some really interesting content. Anyway, if you want to be a member, you want to subscribe, by all means, it's open. Feel free to do it. That's all the housekeeping I had. Let's get into it.
Yeah. Guard in the Grid says, do we get a secret decoder ring? Sir, you can have whatever ring you
We
want.
got a member.
Look at that.
What? Our
Holy
first
moly.
one.
Very first one. Someone take a screenshot of that, please, so that we can save it and we'll put it up on our wall of fame that we don't have yet, but we should.
I'm
All right,
grabbing
folks.
it
One in the
right
Discord.
Oh, look,
now.
MAGA Jake
Boom.
getting in on the action. Thank you,
Oh,
MAGA
check it
Jake.
out.
Look at
You
you
guys are
guys.
awesome.
They should
wait,
have
we-
PR. Oh, hold on. We got a Beaverhausen. We got a Rumble rant over there. It says they should have PR people for the Olympians to let them know what questions might be asked and how to answer them. Totally agree. But here, I'm going to help you out, Olympians. You're dealing with a radical left-wing media whose only desire in the world is to try to destroy the United States. That's what they all want to do. You should expect that they are going to tee up questions for you that are going to try to get you to hate on the country that it sent you to the Olympics, gave you every opportunity in the world. Yes, you worked your tail off. You probably spent your entire life training for that event, but this is the country that provided the opportunity for you to represent it.
Look at all
So
these
treat
members.
Treat
all
that
these...
with the respect that it's due, please. Man, you guys are amazing.
No
Look at all these
kidding.
members.
Look at this family growing.
Oh, look, you guys get a green name too. Like Roa Walk says, you got a green name. This is awesome. You guys got a green name. Speaking of surprises, so hold on, I got another one. A Beaverhausen over here just beating up the Rumble rants says we need Patriot Source membership shirts. SK.
Here's
That
what
sounds
I
like
can
an
do.
SK thing.
Well, so Mrs. Nom said she wanted to do merch. We don't have any merch yet. We will work on this. We will work on getting some merch, some hats. Though I know Patriot Dad and I are very, very, very particular in our hats. That's why you'll never see me wearing one of those Trump, those MAGA hats, those red ones, because I just think they look stupid. The way that they're shaped is just
Richardson 112s.
they're horrible hats. Horrible hats.
You got to get Richardson 112.
That's the only
I think
kind.
so. I think yeah, I agree. So yeah, we'll get on that. We'll do it.
Can we
Do
get
some
this
merch.
comment off the screen?
Yeah, we could take a
Can we take
comment
that
off
off?
the screen. I don't know where is
Because
it?
I have a big surprise for everybody. So do you guys remember last week when we introduced the new segment that we're going to be doing? The segment called We Are Winning. And I asked the audience to help me out by putting together a cool video that we could use as a buffer. And I'm thrilled actually, to tell you that a couple people sent me things. And unfortunately, I decided to do something else entirely and made my own. Not because what they sent me wasn't good. It was, but I had a brilliant idea today. I was just sitting here at my desk. I was kind of like in between meetings and I'm like, this would be fantastic. So I created my own version of a buffer song that we are going to be using as we introduce this new segment every time we introduce the segment. So Nom, will you introduce the brand new We Are Winning buffer video as we roll in to the next topic of We Are Winning?
By introduce, you just want me to play it? Because I don't really have
play it.
I don't have an introduction for it. I'm just
I
gonna
want you to
just play it. Okay.
Stop.
Here we
Hold on. We got another Rumble rant over here that we have to do. Family Crest says, make a small lapel logo one so I can wear it at work. That is awesome. That's a great idea. All right.
Fantastic.
Ready? Go.
And go.
Around, nothing's gonna ever keep you down from the best. Around, nothing's gonna ever keep you down from the best. Around.
I think you're gonna have to play that again. I think they need to see it again. This, folks, is the buffer song for We Are Winning. Look at that. Look at that. That's Baby Trump. Karate kicking. Look at that. Isn't that awesome? Look at that. Whoever said I wasn't creative? I had the brilliant
He did.
idea.
He sent it to the group chat today and said, "Does anybody have a good like baby making video? Not like that. That sounds bad,
Baby making
but-
video. I don't think
Yeah,
that's what. I don't think
not
that's
what
what
he
he said.
said.
It's not
But it was
what he
something
said at all.
about baby, like whatever. I knew what he was talking about.
I don't know why, but I had this vision of Baby Trump.
Baby
doing the
Trump.
Baby Trump doing the crane, the crane stance from the Karate Kid, where he stands there and he's like, "Whoa," like fighting off the deep state as he's winning over and over and over again. So I didn't realize this, but the way that you make these animated videos, these baby videos, is Baby Trump videos, is you don't just go to AI and you say, "Hey, make me a Baby Trump video." Like there's a process. You have to first create the image, and then you have to go find the right platform, and then they have to animate the image, and then you have to. It took me about 45 minutes or so to create that, and I'm pretty proud of it. So we're going to continue to use it until we come up with something better, because there is nothing better in the world than Baby Trump in a red, white, and blue flag gi karate chopping the deep state.
I love that the chat is giving me shit about saying baby making video.
SK.
It's okay. It's called corn.
It's not.
Yeah, that's what somebody said.
Uh-huh.
All right. Anyway, so we actually do have some wins that we want to talk about, because believe it or not, despite the best efforts of the lunatics on the left, there's a lot of really good stuff going on out there. One of the things that these idiot Olympians are trying to convince you of is that the American people are not in support of Donald Trump's immigration agenda. And we continue to show you guys over and over and over again that that's not true. Nom, can you bring up winning one for me?
I will in a second, but first I'd like to clarify for Clarabelle Rodriguez, who I think maybe one of the first or second. I don't think I've ever seen her, Clarabelle, in our comments before. So this entire segment, Clarabelle, is because of the midterms, because we spend so much time swatting down fake news bullshit hoaxes because the media doesn't ever want us to be able to talk about the actual successes and wins of the Trump administration. So this is us and our thoughts on the midterms. President Trump is winning. He's firing on literally every cylinder. His entire administration is. And we're going to walk you through some of those wins. Now, are we ready?
And
Winning
these are
number
just
one.
the wins from the last time we did the segment on Wednesday.
From like the last 4 days. Yeah.
Yeah. And by the way, Clarabelle, welcome to the show.
Yeah.
We're
thank
glad
you.
you're
Welcome.
here. So winning number one. So I don't know if you guys saw this or not, but there is constant polling being done on Trump's immigration agenda. There is such a desperate urge in the media to try to get you to believe that the American people have turned against them and don't want a mass deportation agenda. And that just simply isn't true. New polling was just released, and Scott Rasmussen was talking about it. The polling shows that upwards of 60% of the American people, even after the riots that they experienced in Minnesota, still support Donald Trump and his agenda. 60% of the American people. That's almost, what was it, like almost 55% of Democrats support it still? Like, folks, do you understand how powerful that agenda is when 60% of the American people still support it after a full-on blitz campaign to try to convince you that Donald Trump is a fascist for even thinking about removing millions of illegal immigrants from the country? I mean, that's crazy.
Well, yeah, but I mean, because they were never coming from a place of honesty or even, truthfulness at all in any of this. I mean, you notice that they just moved right past onto the next hoax, to the next one. When's the last time you guys heard about Renee Good or Alex Pretty or any of that stuff? You haven't heard about any of them in quite a while, because they're going to, now Trump's racist because we had the Lion King video last week, the auto scroll scandal. I mean, These people are not serious. They're not to be taken serious. They are seriously dangerous, but they are not to be taken seriously.
That's right. I almost feel like I should play the buffer in between each one of these. Do you guys, would that be a little too much?
I mean, it's new. We could try
Let's do it again.
Around, nothing's gonna ever keep you down from the best. Around, nothing's gonna ever keep you down from the best. Around.
That is so good. Anyway, so winning number 2. Sorry, SK, were you going to say something? Every time you move like that, I think you're getting ready to say something.
No, I was getting
Okay.
a drink of water.
Got it. All right, so let's do number 2. So I don't know if you guys saw this, but there was a court case recently in which a bunch of leftists were trying to challenge the Trump administration's ability to actually detain and hold illegal immigrants before deportation. And after a series of court cases, finally, the appeals court sides with the Trump administration on mass detention ruling. So the Trump administration is now shockingly affirmed in their belief that they have the right to detain and hold potential deportees. Like, that's a pretty significant win.
Wild concept. We've only been doing it for decades when
Yeah, they've been-
immigration law is actually enforced.
Yeah, that's crazy. They've been doing it for decades. This is the Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals. I did a video on this last week about it. So this is one of those things that I think everybody needs to fully comprehend and grasp what the left has done. One of their superpowers, one of the Democrat Party's superpowers is to run out there, find an activist, insurrectionist judge to make some ridiculously stupid ruling like that, and then run around and bang the table. See, Trump is violating the Fourth Amendment. He's violating due process. And then they will never actually come back to it later when the appeals court comes down and says, no, it wasn't him. It was actually that insurrectionist judge over there who was actually violating law and overstepping their authority. So now you're going to have half the country running around saying Trump's violating due process and he's holding these people indefinitely, when it turns out he actually always had the authority and power to do that. Always.
That's right.
Just
That's
like
right.
Obama did when Obama did the exact same thing.
I mean, Obama put them in cages. Like, remember, he put the kids in the cages and then they blamed Trump for it. So dash G3I, I think, says, why not deport them other than just housing and feeding them? SK, you want to take a stab at that one?
Well, they do get deported. They keep them until they have enough to fill up a flight, because if you're spending fuel and stuff for a flight, you're going to want it to be full.
Mm-hmm.
That's right. There's another really important reason. It's called due process. So, folks, they accuse Donald Trump of violating the Constitution by not affording people due process. Do you understand how ridiculously wrong that accusation is? The reason why these people are being detained and held is so they can get due process, so that they can go through whatever administrative process they need to go through before they are deported. That's the process. That's what's happening. And what these leftist organizations are trying to do is say that while you're sending them through these administrative processes, they should not be detained. They should be released to where they can go wherever in the country they want to go and hide from you.
On these administrative warrants, they already have final orders of removal, regardless of when that took place, because we know Biden wasn't doing any deportation. So
That's right.
these people, most all of them have final orders of deportation, but that Supreme Court ruling was on the habeas claims. But the Supreme Court ruled that, and that was on the Alien Enemies Act, that the habeas claims had to be entered in the jurisdiction lies in the area of confinement. So whatever the district is where they're confined, that's where the habeas has to be filed. Which
That's
today
right.
there was a hearing with Boseberg on the Alien Enemies Act stuff. Even though the Supreme Court was like, yeah, you can't do that. He's trying to make the Trump administration return like 130 some odd people.
Ridiculous.
No, how about no? How about
No.
no? We're not doing that. We are not flying back 130 Tren de Aragua cartel members just to make you happy, Boseberg. You, sir, can kindly fuck all the way off.
Well, and Judge
No.
Boseberg doesn't even want these people here. He knows they're dangerous people. He knows they're actual criminals. He doesn't even want them here because he keeps reiterating that they will stay in immigration custody. They won't be released into the United States. But why are you making us spend all this money to bring them back, knowing that they're just going to get shipped right the fuck back where they came from?
Look, there has been a ton of winning from the Trump administration, but there has been almost zero winning in Congress. And this is one of the biggest losers of all of this first Congress under Trump's administration, is the fact that Judge Boseberg has not yet been impeached. This guy is an absolute embarrassment to the rule of law. Every step of the way, this guy has done everything he can to violate the conscience of the American people with his rulings that continue to be overruled. The Supreme Court had to come in and smack him around, and he's still pursuing the same case that the Supreme Court smacked his rear end on. Still. Why has this guy not been impeached yet?
Because Congress doesn't have a spine or a set of nuts.
No, it's because half of the Republican Party actually doesn't want to deport these people. And half of the Republican Party just like hates Trump and wants him to lose the midterms, wants him to be impeached. And half of them would have been happy if he'd actually spent 700 years in prison like they were trying to do.
I love the approach that Nom has taken on this topic. And I think it needs to be the Patriot Source podcast and our network's overarching theory. Anytime I ask a question of why somebody's not doing something, the answer to that question is the most obvious: because they don't want to. The reason why Judge Boseberg has not been impeached is because the Republicans don't want to. It's that simple. But nonetheless, at least a court, an appeals court, has ruled in favor of the Trump administration. But that's not it.
Well, the good news, that appeals court's more important. Well,
Yeah.
in the Fifth Circuit is more important than the federal district court judges, and Boseberg will be overturned. He's been overturned over and over and over and over again. Hold on, dude. We were supposed to do the baby.
What? Yep. Hold on. We got to bring the baby. There you go.
Nothing's gonna ever keep you down from the best around. Nothing's gonna ever keep you down from the best around.
I love that. On to the next win.
You need wax on and wax off. You need like different moves in between each one.
I still have some credits on that platform that I will use, and I'm going to play with this and see if I can get him. I want him in the crane position. That's where I want him to start, and I'll see if I can get him to start in the crane position. All right,
you can't start in the crane position. The crane position is an emergency move. It's not effective. It only works when there's no other possible defensive move, and you have to be offensive.
You get 13 seconds. So you can't be that picky on the position that he's starting in or finishing in. And we'll see. I'll try to get him in a crane position at some point. 13 seconds is what I got.
Wait a second.
Stop with the baby vid. Are you kidding me? Do you realize I spent 45 minutes making that today? We are going to be showing that all the time. All the time. Because it's awesome. Anyway, so White House touts arrest of more than 4,000 criminal illegal immigrants in Minneapolis. 4,000. Guarding the grid. I'll send it to you on DM here after we wrap up. 4,000 arrests of criminal illegal immigrants in Minneapolis. That's a pretty significant win.
4, yeah, and you know what's going to happen? The people of Minnesota who are pretending like they're revolutionaries and they're saving the world from Trump's Gestapo ICE. Really, they're not. They're just embarrassing themselves. And about 6 months, when the world has forgotten who they are, and we've all moved on from this, their crime rate is going to be next to nothing because of what President Trump and the FBI and ICE and everybody has done there, because they have ripped out of there, root and branch, 4,000, in a lot of cases, gross, violent, criminal, illegal aliens. And it turns out, like we've seen everywhere else around the country, about 1.5% to 2% of the people in this country are the ones who are committing all the crimes. And if you actually throw them in jail or deport them, then you don't actually have crime problems in these cities anymore. So they're going to get the benefit of this, even though they're crying and kicking and screaming and gnawing at their, scratching at their faces while they're doing it.
Deb Roick does not like my video. Change the music. Now, hey, that's up for debate. I'll take that feedback. I'll try to find a good song. I actually had Grok help me with the song choice, and Grok gave me like 15 different options, and I chose my own because I didn't like any of the ones that Grok gave me. So there's some other options out there, but you have to admit there is nothing better for us Gen Xers, then Karate Kid, You're the Best Around, in a gi. You can't. I mean, you have to admit.
I think we should take a vote actually, because I mean, while this show is not a democracy, it is a dictatorship, as PatriotDad has eloquently stated many times, an authoritarian dictatorship. Let's take a vote.
Calling me an authoritarian dictator?
You are the one who said it multiple times. You have said that this show is not a dictator, is not a constitutional republic. It's not a democracy. It's an authoritarian dictatorship. And if we want to use it's the best around, then we'll use it. But let's get a vote. Video stays, song stays, or song goes.
I think we need to hold on. We got a couple more wins. Let's get through those. We'll end with one more presentation, the video, and then we'll ask you all to vote on whether or not we decrease the volume a bit. That's actually not a bad idea. That's not a bad idea. I can work on that. All right.
I just turned the volume down right here before I play it next time.
I'm going to be yawning the entire time we're on here. I'm so tired.
Are we boring you, SK?
No, I'm really tired. I did not sleep well.
Song goes. Okay, so it's
wow.
All right, ready?
This is my feelings are gonna be a bit hurt if I have to start over with that song. I was really proud of it. I showed my wife, I showed my kids, I sent it to everybody. I was like, you guys,
and they were like,
this.
and they're like, Patriot we love it so much. In the back of their mind, they're like, God, we have to always tell them that we love things.
Shoe Baby has it right. Shoe Baby said, I'm staying out of that fight. Listen, you don't get in between twins when they're fighting. I'm telling you right now. I just sit there. I'm like, oh, yeah, okay.
We're not fighting.
We're not fighting about anything at all.
And did you see this?
Where's the baby song?
No, we'll do it at the end. Do it at the end. All right. So, Nom, you made a video on this the other day, didn't you?
I did.
Yeah. Expert said that if I hit 50,000 on the Dow at the end of my term, I would have done a great job. But I hit 50,000 today. This was Friday, by the way, or Thursday. 3 years ahead of schedule. No, Friday. Remember that for the midterms, because the Democrats will crash the economy. 50,000 on the Dow. Now, I know I'm hearing the sounds of all of the bawling and squalling on the left. People arguing, yeah, but the stock market doesn't mean the economy is doing, which is really weird considering that's the argument they made for 4 years when the economy was literally taking a crap all over itself and inflation was driving the stock market up. And that's all they wanted to talk about was the stock market. And now when you have a stock market that's growing because the economy is doing well, while inflation is down, while investment into the country is literally pouring in, manufacturing is taking off, just about every measurable indicator of economic success is firing on all cylinders. The stock market hits 50,000 in Donald Trump's first year in office. 50,000. And he said the other day, it'll go to 100 before he leaves office. And guess what, folks?
100? I sold like a third of my shit last week and bought a TiVo.
And bought a TiVo?
Yeah, everything's overvalued. I feel like the bottom's got to fall out of it at some point. Yeah. We've got to have a correction. It's been due since like spring of 2024.
There will be a correction, but it won't be a massive one. It'll be an appropriate level of correction, which will then set the economy up to continue to grow even more. If you understand how these waves move up and down, the Elliott wave theory, has anyone ever studied Elliott wave theory? I started looking into this quite a bit when I was playing around with cryptocurrencies and stuff. And it is incredible how predictable long-term movements of the stock markets are. And folks, we are just like in the middle of the beginning of a third wave right now in the Elliott theory that we're on, which means massive, massive expansion getting ready to happen. Massive expansion. So is 100,000 possible? Yep, it is. It absolutely is.
That's crazy.
Well, that would dovetail on Trump's claim that you could see 17, 18, 20% GDP, which he said, which would be
insane.
Wild.
I remember when I was in 6th grade, we had a contest in my math class and we had to guess like what we had to watch the stock market and we had to like whatever day of the week we had to like bring in, you know, what our stocks were at and all of that. And but we had to make a guess as to what the Dow would finish at. And I remember it being like 7,000 or
Yep. That's how it works. All right. So I think we need to play. All right, folks,
hold on.
Here's the deal.
We've got first we've got, listen, we have to stick to, if we've got a super chat or a Rumble rant, we got to play it, but we got to do them in a specific order. Okay.
Yep.
So A Beaverhouse has got one over there. Keep the song and sweep the leg. And sweep the leg.
I guarantee you I could get AI to create
And we
a
have to
sleeping
have
leg version
wax
of this.
on and wax off.
All right. All good suggestions. I have extra credits. I'll play with it. Yep.
Patriotic Critical Thinker came in a bit late. We talked about the release of probable cause regarding the FBI ballot seizure supposed to be released tomorrow. I think we'll probably have to wait until we actually see the probable cause before we can talk about it.
I don't, and this, look, I may be ignorant because I have not read the articles that have been posted about this, and I will at the end of it. But can anybody tell me why we should be concerned about the release of a probable cause affidavit?
There's no concern. They had
We
probable
shouldn't.
cause. They wouldn't have had a judge sign off on it if they didn't.
We shouldn't.
Although, I mean, the Biden administration definitely did, but
Well, but hold on. So, but the probable cause for this, right? This was that they had already been ordered to turn these documents over, to turn this stuff over. This was not part of a criminal probe yet, was it, SK? Or because I believe the way I understood what was happening here was they were told to turn this stuff over. The Department of Justice, the Attorney General, sent them a letter and all this stuff. And then judges had actually come in and said, yes, no, you have to turn this stuff over, even though you're fighting. And then they wouldn't. So they went and actually got a warrant so that they could raid and they could take the things. But I don't believe, could be wrong.
According to that one guy that gave that press conference the day they were doing the raids and all that night, remember he said that he had a source. So someone in the administration somewhere was saying that people were going to be arrested, and he was one of them that they said was going to be arrested.
Yeah, that's
Well,
right.
fine, but that wasn't, as far as I know, that was an indictment or impending indictment or an actual criminal investigation, and which is, I don't think that's what predicated the warrants at all. The warrant was strictly because judges had told them, yes, you are required to turn this over to the Department of Justice so that they could do whatever they're doing. And
But
they
I
were
think there's
refusing
like
to.
2 investigations going on. I think there's the lawsuit over the records, but I think there's also an investigation going on, which is why Tulsi Gabbard was there.
Yeah, I think the fact is, folks, we're going to have to do a little bit of research on this. I'm gonna deploy the Bongino rule until I have a chance to read up on the probable cause affidavit, the order that the judge issued saying that it has to be released, and then also what MAGA Jake is saying here. They had to have destroyed those missing boxes. I don't know enough about this to be able to comment on it yet, but I will. We'll figure it out and we'll talk about it maybe on Wednesday. Is that okay? Is that fair?
Yeah, that sounds like a really good topic for Wednesday.
It does. Sounds like a great topic. Did we play the video again? We need to play
Unless
the
we
video
have a
again.
special guest. And if we have a special guest, we got to talk about something completely different.
Oh yeah, we may have a special guest on Wednesday. We'll figure that out. Was there also a super chat we had to do?
We did it.
Okay.
Critical Thinker did the super chat about the boxes, about the probable cause affidavit.
All right, folks, you know what that means? It's time to vote. Do
Trump,
we keep
baby.
the video or not? And it's just a yes or no. Don't give me like, yes, but do this. Yes or no. Do we keep the video?
Around, nothing's gonna ever keep you down. You're the best. Around, nothing's gonna ever keep you down. You're the best. Around.
All right. There's one. One says we keep it. Yes. Yeah. Oh, those of you guys that wanted me to change it, you're losing. You better get your votes in. You better get them in.
Speaking of votes,
Guarding the
speaking
grid
of
says
polls,
keep the video, but only
MAGA
play it.
Jake, we told you there was no yes, but it's keep it or not. Play it at the beginning and the end, not in between each clip. Ha ha.
I hear you. I overplayed it because I was excited about it because this is the first baby Trump video I ever made. So we will not be doing it in between everyone next time.
Aurora Walk earlier said
I think
SK
that's
looks
GP.
like she
Isn't that
wants to
GP
talk-
Walker?
They said SK looks like she wants to talk about Epstein.
Which is the last thing that SK wants to talk about.
I
We actually do have
I
Epstein on the roster here. believe it
I
or
did
not.
my teaser video and I said I think PatriotDad's going to talk about Epstein. I'm just going to go on mute and turn my camera off while he does it.
There is some stuff to talk about with Epstein,
You
but we're
didn't
not ready to
post it
talk
on
about
X,
Epstein yet.
did you? I looked for it. I didn't see it.
No, I didn't get around to it.
So last night, I don't know if you guys saw this, but Turning Point USA basically broke the internet. I mean, not basically, absolutely destroyed the internet. Destroyed it. Did you guys see the numbers from their halftime show last night? Now, there's some not controversy, but the numbers are still rolling in. I think in the moment, some were saying that as many as 10 million people streamed in live across YouTube and other platforms. Andrew Wolcott this morning, is that his name? Wolcott, whatever. Andrew, whatever his name is, the TPUSA guy, said that they had data showing that upwards of 20 million unique IP addresses were watching last night. 20 million. That doesn't even include the bars that it was in where you had 30, 40, 50 people, or the homes where you had 10, 15 people. Folks, there could be 30 to 50 million people watch a show.
It was the number 2 live stream on YouTube of all time, like ever.
Now, I don't want to toot my own horn here, but the Patriot Source podcast may actually have to take a little bit of credit for the Turning Point USA halftime show. Not that we produced it, because we didn't. Not that we had anything at all to do with the show itself, but we might have been the first ones to actually suggest it. Do you guys remember that? I wish I would have pulled that video. But back when they first announced that Bad Bunny, probably one of the worst actual singers on the planet, was going to be performing at the halftime show, I went out and did a little bit of research into Bad Bunny's music. Wait, what's this? Your Rumble API key is no longer valid. What? What's that? Did we lose Rumble?
What does that mean?
Is Rumble still playing?
No, we're still playing on Rumble as of right now, unless it's...
YouTube
really
crashed
weird.
a little while ago because when I opened the app just a minute ago, it said that it had crashed and I had to restart it.
Huh.
I've never
All
had
right.
that message before.
Okay, so Rumble's still there. Okay, good. So
Yeah.
we'll figure that out. We just got a warning message that says our API key is no longer valid for Rumble. So we'll figure that out. But as long as it's still working. Anyway, we should take a little bit of a victory lap because we're the ones who first suggested that TPUSA step in and put on an alternative halftime show. And boy, did they ever. Holy moly. It was incredible. I mean, how could it have not been light years better than the crap that they showed on that halftime show last night?
I can't get over the amount of people that we're talking about, like people that claim to be faith leaders and things like that, claiming that MAGA had it wrong for the Super Bowl, that the message that everyone in the country needed to hear was the one that was at the Super Bowl halftime show, and that what was going on Turning Point USA wasn't Christian. You know, you had all the people making videos where they start reading lyrics of a song saying these are Bad Bunny lyrics, and then they read it and they're like, oh, never mind, that's actually Kid Rock. But I don't think a single one of them ever tuned in to even see what took place on Turning Point USA, because Kid Rock did play an old song first. They introduced him as Kid Rock. He came on, played an old hit, and then they reintroduced him by his given name. And he did that Cody Johnson song where he added in at the beginning talking about everyone has a book in their house that they need to dust off. He talked about Jesus dying for our sins. He talked about salvation, all of that, and then sang that song. And it was amazing. You got to watch his actual transformation. And you have faith leaders that are getting on the internet and talking about what was going on over there wasn't Christian, that Bad Bunny's message was what everyone needed to hear.
Unbelievable.
How is that possible? Like, it's disgusting what took place at the Super Bowl.
I'll show you how it's not possible. Nom, can you pull up? It's in the Dropbox. I just added a few minutes ago, the lady pastor video. This is something that SK showed or sent us earlier today. This is the video that we were pulling in the last waning seconds before we started the show. You guys got to see some of the things that these leftist faith leaders are saying. Can you pull that up? I think it's under lady pastor.
Got it.
Pull this up. You guys need to see this.
Trying.
Oh, is it not going to work?
I don't know.
Will
There
not
it
be
is.
supporting Bad Bunny this week. One of his lyrics literally says, young ladies, I like 'em underage. Some say that's statutory. I say that's mandatory. My life ain't that complex. 240s and a Rolex. Oh wait, isn't that Kid Rock? The headliner for Turning Point USA, the counter all-American faithful response for the halftime show? Yes. Do we see how ridiculous that is? If you're watching the Turning Point headliner instead of Bad Bunny, you are being tricked into thinking this is the more faithful way to respond. It was never about values. It was never about being more Christian. It was not to support the immigrant. Just to clarify, immigrant presenting citizen who doesn't conform to whiteness and is still loved by the masses. That's the problem. Hope you tune in, especially this year, to the halftime show to watch Bad Bunny. Ice out.
I'm
First
telling
of
you
all-
right now, they are handing out collars at the dollar store. Where did that lady get her collar? Where did she go to theology school?
I'm still stuck on the immigrant conforming
Presenting.
presenting
Immigrant
citizen.
Presenting.
Immigrant presenting citizen.
Because
This-
he's Puerto Rican.
This female pastor just used the exact same language that the trans radicals use when they talk about transitioning from a male to a female. Presenting.
course.
She just said immigrant presenting
Yes.
U.S. citizen. Do you know where
She's
they
a
learned
rabid
this crap?
leftist.
Do you guys mind if I just riff for a second here?
Yeah, please do.
I mean, I am like apoplectic about this. SK sent this to us earlier today, and I did what I usually do, which is just kind of ignored it until
Ignore
right before the
me.
show.
Just completely
And
ignore me.
I about had steam blowing out of my ears when I listened to this buffoon try to characterize Kid Rock over the last 30 years, become the person that he is today. So at the very beginning of that video, she references some lyrics from a song that Kid Rock wrote in 1999. In 1999, almost 30 years ago. In 1999.
I have a question, Patriot Dad.
Yeah.
Would religious leaders would they hold it against somebody if they've shown over a matter of like 30 years that they've grown and their spirituality and their faith, and from a position from 1999 where they
No.
may have written lyrics like that to where Robert Ritchie currently is?
No.
Would you imagine that someone like her would
No. this
applaud
is-
that, or no?
This is what got me all worked up over that video, because that's his testimony, and people that have been in the pits of hell and have been sinners and been in addiction and things like that, those are the people that have the testimony. Those are the people that you get to see the huge transformation in. They're the ones that bring the people to church. They're the ones that are actually making the change. Just like when you get to heaven, you're going to look around and be surprised who you see, because you're going to see a lot of people who are like on death row and have done a lot of horrible things in their lives. But that is the grace that comes with knowing Jesus. That is the grace. And for someone who claims to be some sort of a faith leader or a priest or whatever she was, to say the things that she said is absolutely asinine. I mean, it makes me furious.
It's unbiblical. It's unbiblical. If this woman is in fact a trained priest, and it sounds like she is, then she should understand the process of sanctification. She should understand the process that sinners go through when they are baptized, when they are born again, and then they allow Jesus into their heart to change their lives. Now, if you've never personally experienced that, you should try it, because it will utterly transform you. Let me ask you guys a question. Who in here does not know that Patriot Dad is in fact a recovered alcoholic? Who doesn't know that? Raise your hand if you are not aware of the fact that 30 years ago, I was living my life as an active, destructive alcoholic, literally destroying every single person that was in my path. Who doesn't know that? Jesus
I'm well
Christ
aware of that.
will change you from the inside out if you allow it. And for a pastor to make a video on TikTok after Kid Rock stands on the stage and declares the name of Jesus Christ to millions of people is one of the most demonic things I think I've ever watched. Demonic.
Yeah, I
Shame
I
on
agree.
you, Pastor Lady. Shame on you.
It made me furious. And the number of people, and Cory Booker is the one that posted that video, by the way. if you're a Democrat and you're supporting this party and you're a Christian, how do you
Democrats agree with it
reconcile that?
because Democrats agree with her. Democrat
they're-
Christians agree with her.
But here's
They
the
just
thing.
do.
What really gets me is that they are saying things like that the message that needs to be heard is the one that was given at the halftime show during the Super Bowl and by Bad Bunny, because at the end there was a billboard that said something about love. That is not what this is about at all whatsoever. And just for anyone listening, what I posted when I reposted that video is God doesn't call the qualified. He qualifies the called. If you're looking at somebody, especially as a faith leader of some sort, and judging someone by their past and not the transformation that's taken place in their life when they found Jesus, you don't belong there.
That's right. That's right. Well, I think I figured out why this woman thinks the way she does. So her name is Gerilyn Henry. She is a priest of the Anglican Church of Canada. The communist state of Canada. An Anglican priest of the Church of the Communist State of Canada is lecturing the American people on what halftime show they should be watching.
That sounds
Listen.
pretty racist to me. Aren't Anglicans? Isn't that pretty racist?
Listen, the only thing good that's ever come out of Canada is maple syrup. I'm sorry.
We have some damn good maple syrup here in the upper
Vermont.
Midwest.
Yeah, you can get it in Vermont. It's fine.
You don't need to go to Canada to get good
You
maple
can
syrup.
get it.
That's for sure. As a matter of fact, I have a close personal friend of mine that taps maple trees in his yard, and it's fantastic what he produces. Some of the best. It's incredible. And you don't have to go to Canada for that. But I want to stay on this topic for a little bit because I did see somebody say, hey, we need to talk about politics, not religion. I just want to.
That's not exactly what she said. She said, "I am here for politics, not religion."
Understood.
Yeah.
I will argue that you cannot extract religion from politics because if you do, your politics will sound exactly like that wackadoodle Anglican priest from the communist state of Canada. That's just the reality.
Canadian bacon sucks. It's not crispy enough for me. Sorry.
I agree. You got bacon must be crispy. I don't want floppy bacon.
That is ham. It's not bacon.
We do have some good news though. So first of all, I want to introduce you guys to a good friend of mine, a guy that I have come to love and respect and absolutely adore his content. Many of you know him. We've developed a bit of a friendship outside of our content creation space and have had many conversations about faith together. And probably one of the most humble, important voices on social media today that if you haven't been introduced to him yet, I'm going to. His name is Livin' Free. Incredible voice for what faith should sound like. But he made this video, I think it was this morning. And I think it's such an important video. We're going to play the whole thing. And then I have a couple comments I want to make, and I want to show you a few things after that. Fair? All right, Nom, let's pull up Livin' Free. My man.
Got it.
Livin' Free.
You ready?
Yep.
You're due. Here we go.
America, you're not ready. All you had to do was not watch. Do you know how easy it would have been to send a powerful message last night to all the crooked, dirty politicians, to all the, quote, rich and the powerful elites, to all the demons in the entertainment industry in response to all this evil that we've been shown, all these things that it's woven into the fabric of everything? Do you know how easy it would have been to tell them, we see you, we know what you're doing, and we're done with you? But the initial numbers for the Super Bowl are in, and something like 115 million people, they tuned in to watch the game. So the message sent was very clear. You don't care. Your entertainment is more important than anything else. All we had to do was not watch, man. That's it. Not watch the Super Bowl. And yet millions and millions of people fell in line to consume a game. An event that's known far and wide, by the way, to be one of the largest for human trafficking, for child trafficking. And you told all those people who are responsible for that kind of evil in this world that you do not care. You want to talk about peaceful protesting? Man, that would have been it. Nothing could have been more peaceful than that, because not watching, that would have sent a massive message that we are done with their distractions, that we're done with your bread and circus. We are done with the things that you do in the background, the things you do in the dark, you do in secret when you think no one is watching. But God is always, always watching. This could have even shown a little bit of solidarity between the people of this country, the people that they fight so hard to keep divided, right? To these entities that try to keep us that way and try to keep us tearing each other apart. Because don't forget, Republicans, you hate Democrats, right? And Democrats, you hate Republicans. So you be sure to hold that line and keep that division alive and strong so that we don't come together against them. Them, the ones that many of you are finding out for the first time in your life are consumed with unspeakable evil. But too many people, they don't want to give up their conveniences. They don't want to give up their couple hours of entertainment, the luxuries of this life that they give us to dull our senses, to quell the masses, to numb you when confronted with the reality of this world, with the evil that exists. America, yesterday you had the chance and you failed. I pray for the soul of this country.
Powerful. He's so good.
I don't disagree with anything that he said. However, there were a whole lot of people that didn't watch. And there were millions of people who tuned out at the worst part. I mean, let's be honest. You are never going to break the American people of their love of football. You're not going to do it because it is one of the few things that men in particular feel like they can engage in just to chill and relax for a while. You're never going to break our love of football. You're not going to do it.
They may not need to break the love of football. Football is a dying sport in this country. You guys know that, right?
Well,
football.
hold on. I like high school and college football. I just don't watch the NFL at all.
But understand. But I mean, you have to have Pee Wee League football and then middle school and then high school and then college to have the NFL. But you don't have it without it. More and more parents are not allowing their kids to play football. Football is so people like Roger Goodell and all these data analysts up there at the NFL and college levels, they're looking at the numbers of kids that are coming in, and it's not good. It's not good for the NFL. It's not good for the sport, which is why you saw the halftime show you saw last night, which appealed to only 40 million Americans that actually speak Spanish, not the 310 million that don't, but it was appealing to the rest of the world because they have players who don't understand the head trauma that comes from playing football, and they're trying to grow the sport outside of the country because it's not growing inside the country anymore.
But did you see the people that were making videos saying, I speak Spanish fluently, have my entire life, and I have no idea what that guy was saying that wasn't Spanish?
Well, I mean, I'll show you guys some of what he was saying. You guys want to see
Before
some of
we do,
lyrics?
yes, but I have a question that I've been dying to ask, and I want everybody in the chat. Let's get involved here on the Rumble, on the X, on the YouTube. I need you to answer this question for me because it's very important. Who remembers who did the halftime show 2 years ago? What about 4 years ago? What about 7 years ago? Everybody remembers last year's halftime show, but do you remember the one before that and the one before that?
The only one I remember is
J-Lo and Shakira and Michael Jackson. Prince.
All I remember is hearing about the wardrobe malfunction. I don't know if I actually saw it, but that's all I remember.
Oh, I watched it.
So the point I'm trying to make is, yeah, I mean, it's a hot topic news right now. It will be forgotten about come Friday, and no one will ever remember Sad Rabbit's stupid little show at all. But you know what they will remember? They will remember the fact that Turning Point USA set the #2 stream of all time on YouTube.
People will remember that had their lives changed hearing Kid Rock talk about dusting your Bible off and getting it out and reading it and the salvation that comes with knowing Jesus Christ.
That's right.
So hold on, we got Snoop Dogg, we got Bruno Mars, Katy Perry. No, I'm asking specifically who. Don't look this up. Do not look this up. Who did the halftime show 2 years ago?
Don't care. I wasn't watching 2 years ago either.
Anyone?
Snoop Dogg, Dre, Eminem,
That's my
50
point.
Cent.
That's my
All
point.
right, so
no one remembers these after it's over, right? No one
Let's
does.
do this. I'm going to skip the disgusting Bad Bunny lyrics that I pulled to show you the type of hypocrisy that this priest up in the Communist Church of Canada somehow decided to overlook, because if you've looked into his lyrics, they're disgusting. They're awful. Which, by the way, is what prompted me to actually suggest that TPUSA should run an alternate halftime show. You know what's really cool is TPUSA is now committed to doing this next year too, and
Yeah, they
probably
did.
every year thereafter,
Did you
because they
see-
need to.
Did you see that there's a clip of Charlie Kirk talking about wanting to have an alternate halftime show? That's something he wanted to do.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
The good news is most people that were asked last night could not stand the halftime show. So here's a poll that was released from TMZ of all places. TMZ, by the way, where the face of TMZ was recently found in the Epstein files, is running a poll. Who had better halftime show, Bad Bunny or Kid Rock? 84% of the respondents, 32,000 votes at that time, said Kid Rock. That number has, of course, changed because the way these internet polls work is the left had realized that they were getting their asses kicked. So they got all their swarms of sock puppet accounts to run over to TMZ to vote. And it still shows 64% of hundreds of thousands of votes cast agreed that Kid Rock was far better than Sad Bunny.
Yeah, that
200
didn't turn out the way they thought it was going to turn out.
No.
256,000 people voted, which, by the way, is a pretty good sample size. And
That's right.
64% of respondents preferred Kid Rock's show over Bad Bunny's show.
That's right. I mean, it was so bad for them last night that even Donald Trump had to get in on the action. Did you guys see what he posted about it? This guy, he's so funny. And people that don't understand him or his sense of humor, I feel so sorry for you, because you're missing out on one of the funniest presidents probably in our lifetime. I mean, I think he's even funnier than Ronald Reagan. So here's Donald Trump. The Super Bowl halftime show is absolutely terrible. One of the worst ever. It makes no sense. Isn't it affront to the greatness of America and doesn't represent our standards of success, creativity, or excellence. Man, he just hammered them. Nobody understands a word this guy is saying, and the dancing is disgusting, especially for young children that are watching from throughout the USA and all over the world. This show is just a slap in the face to our country, which is setting new standards and records every single day, which we talked about some in our We Are Winning segment with the coolest baby Trump karate video of all time, including the best stock market and 401ks in history. There's nothing inspirational about this mess of a halftime show. And watch, it will get great reviews from the fake news media because they haven't got a clue of what is going on in the real world. And by the way, the NFL should immediately replace its ridiculous new kickoff rule, which for some reason he cannot stop talking about.
He freaking hates that kickoff rule. He thinks
He hates it.
It's a little fake and gay, according to
It is very fake and gay. Last point on this, and I'm going to pull in probably the last topic that you want to talk about. Can you imagine being Candace Owens and the Candace Owens cult crowd who have spent the last 4 months doing everything they can to try to destroy Turning Point USA, only to find that they produced the second largest streaming event of all time?
Did you see what she posted about it?
No.
She's salty.
She should be salty because she's just wasted 4 months of her life and has been shown to be an absolute loser.
Well, to be fair, it's probably some sort of a psyop
Well, I think we know that.
involving the UK.
And involving Steve Bannon, maybe.
And
Oh, wait,
Steve Bannon, possibly.
Did I say that? Did I say that? Yeah, we got more on Steve Bannon coming up soon, because the deeper we dive into these Epstein files, the worse it's getting for Steve Bannon. It's
And
like so
Cambridge
thick and thick.
Analytica
Yeah,
and the
it's
parent
so
company.
deep and thick that I don't even understand like what exactly this guy was doing. All I know is he was up to his elbows in trying to help rehab Jeffrey Epstein, may have been getting paid, but now it looks even worse than that. Now it looks like he may have actually been engaging with Epstein to try to launch a global populist movement or something. I don't know. It's weird. It doesn't make any sense, but we're going to dive into it because we need to understand it. If this guy thinks he's going to be a voice of MAGA or America first, then he's got some questions to answer, and we need to figure out what questions those are. Yeah. Anyway, so you want to go to the next topic? Nom, you want to talk about Epstein? Because that bubbled up yesterday.
Told you I was going to go on mute and turn my camera off, but let's go.
I don't even know where to start on this. I don't know if you guys saw this, but apparently the Department of Justice made. Did
He
seriously
really
go on
turned his
mute?
camera off.
Holy crap! He went on mute.
You just did it to be funny.
So the Department of Justice opened up a opportunity for members of Congress to come view some of the 3.5 million documents that are still covered under redaction. And if you guys remember, when Ro Khanna and Thomas Massie drafted the Epstein Transparency Act, they put several very specific reasons why redactions should be applied to those files. Did you guys remember what one of those reasons were? Ongoing investigations. Right?
And prosecutions, yep.
So it's just really strange to me when I see people asking the same question over and over and over and over again. Why is this redacted? Well, because the law requires them to be redacted. Let me ask you a question. Would Todd Blanche have sat down with Ghislaine Maxwell over the summer if they were not still actively engaged in some form of an investigation involving her role with Epstein and the things that she was doing with Epstein? What would have been the point of having that conversation? Why would they have brought her in front of Congress today where they're not still investigating some role that she had in helping to deliver people to other people? Did you guys see that she pled the fifth today?
Yes, but can we just clear up for everybody really quick that don't listen to all these people that are like, oh, well, Maxwell got in front of Congress today and pled the fifth on every question, but yet she sat down and talked to Todd Blanche. Yeah, that's because Congress wouldn't offer her any sort of immunity for talking. And the Trump administration did at the beginning of those recordings, which you can listen to the entire thing. They released it right after he went down there and talked to her. They tell her that they're going to offer her immunity for giving the interview as long as she was honest with them. If they found anything that she was lying about, that immunity was off the table.
That's right.
Yeah, it's called a proffer session. It's a queen for a day. If you tell us the truth, anything you say, we just want the information. But if you lie, everything you just said gets held against you.
And let's just make it clear that it is your constitutional right to plead the Fifth Amendment and not perjure yourself
100%.
in any way. And these same people that are talking about Trump violating people's constitutional rights and talking about how much the Republicans hate the Constitution, they sure don't like the Fifth Amendment, do they?
No. Hey, I want to put Jake's comment back up here because I think it's a really good transition. Can you, Nom, get ready with the Ali Carter video? So MAGA Jake says that's why she's asking for a pardon again, because she knows she can clear Trump. I don't know if I disagree or agree with that, but you don't need Ghislaine Maxwell to clear anybody, because if you look at the files, it is pretty darn obvious that Donald Trump has already been cleared. The only thing that even suggests that he's done something wrong has been entirely debunked FBI prank calls and what appears to be, at least from my perspective, an attempt to try to pollute the files with nonsense. So every one of the allegations that have been made against Donald Trump in these files, saying that he's done something he shouldn't have done, illegal, criminal, disgusting, all of it has been debunked at this point. All of it. There isn't a single claim in there that stood up to scrutiny. Not one.
No. And all of the victims in all of their depositions in all of these cases, they all were asked about Trump, and every single one of them said Trump was never a part of any of this. And Ali Carter has a video from a long time ago, like a year or two ago.
Well, she just put out a new one.
Well, yeah, I saw that. But she has one from a year or two ago where she points out the fact that Donald Trump is the only president. Not only was he not involved in any of this stuff, but he's the only president that ever passed a law regarding this topic and actually doing anything to try to protect people from this.
That's right. So those of you guys who haven't seen this yet, I think it's worth playing. This is Ali Carter, who was one of Epstein's victims, who I think was also trafficked to multiple other people. And she decided it would be important enough to make a video about it. And I think we should show it. So let's pull up Ali Carter.
Come on.
Come on, Ali Carter.
Get on up there. Get up on it.
Is it too long?
It's trying to upload.
All right.
It's uploading it now. Otherwise, it would have failed. It would have errored out. Nope. You're gonna have to try it. It won't let
All
me
right,
do it.
I will try to pull it up. Let me see if I can get it to work, and we will just talk and pretend like we are professionals at this and we know what we're doing.
Yeah, so I mean, so it actually goes further than what SK said or Ali Carter said, that he was the only president to have passed a law. I mean, when he signed it, he just signed it into law, and he was kind of dragged kicking and screaming to do it. But that's beside the point, because he's the only one that's released any of these documents.
Are you pushing
He's
the
the only
button?
one who's released. I'm not. He's the only one who's released any of these documents. He's the only one who actually tried to help the prosecutor in the Southern District.
You
He's
got
the
it
only
on in
one
the
that actually
background
tried-
too. Hold on, we
No,
got
I
to
don't.
figure out why this is still running.
It's not.
It's not still
Hold on.
running. It went off for me.
Why is it playing in my background? Oh, okay. It was playing in my ears. That's really weird. All right, here we go. Finish what you were saying now.
No, it's fine. We won't.
All right, we're gonna play.
But you're
Ali
right.
Carter.
You're right. He's the only one, and he's the one that actually arrested Epstein and was going to actually have him prosecuted for all these crimes, like
Yeah.
at the federal level. He was
Just-
going to go to prison for a very, very, very long time.
Trump is the only one who's done anything related to Epstein. Literally the only one. Nobody else from the late 90s, from Bill Clinton, Epstein being at Clinton's, visiting the White House as many times as he did. Literally nobody has done anything except for Donald Trump. That's it. All right, play it.
SK, we've got some feedback here that we should move you up to the top so that the messages don't cover your face. I
No,
actually
it's
think that's a
fine,
good
because
idea.
then when I get my cup and I go
don't
to get
think we
some
can,
ice,
actually.
it's covered
Oh.
up.
We'll have to
we can't move her up
remake
there.
the template.
Yeah.
All right, here's
Can't
Ali
move her up
Carter.
there.
Ready? Here we go.
Was tortured by Trump. And if I was, I damn sure don't know about it. But I was never tortured by Trump. That's not the point. But the fact that some of you are mad at me because I won't say that is telling. Why are we just having a conversation just about Trump like he's the only, we said we saw his name and all this stuff. Okay, because if it was, all of it was what it says it was, why wasn't that information out in 2016? When he was running for election, they drug out everything on that man. Why didn't they pull out that ball? But let's just knock politics off the table for a second. If you are just focused on Trump's name, you do not get it. We're talking about children. We're talking about children. Children!
I love that video. I mean, so powerful.
Yep.
An actual victim. As I think bringing to the surface something that we're going to have a conversation about this, America, at some point. Something is starting to feel very off about the messaging that we're hearing from the victim crowd. Now, I want to be very sensitive here because these victims should be heard and they should have their opportunity for accountability and justice. And what I'm starting to find very interesting is that none of them seem to want to take it. So we've heard over and over again for months that there's these lists of names, and yet none of them have provided a list or a name.
Well, there's a couple things here. There are a lot of people in the comments saying she's a victim of Diddy, blah, blah, blah. Yes, she's a victim of a lot of people. Her name is in the files. She's been trafficked to a lot of people. She was trafficked out of foster care. She had a very, very hard life. She's been a victim of a lot of people. But everything that she has said has turned out to be true. She's literally in the files. You can look it up. Also, somebody said about the Clintons, so why do the Clintons want an open hearing? Here's the thing. The Clintons are going to Clinton. They're going to do their thing. Public hearings are political theater. Nothing actually gets out in those hearings. They only have a certain amount of time. And it's all, they're asking politically charged questions. A lot of times not even on the topic. That's why they want it open, because they know that the Democrat congressman will save them and will change the subject and will try to smooth things over for the public. When it's done behind closed doors and there's only a few people in the room and they're asking questions the way they need to ask questions in an actual deposition, because what what they're being called in for is an actual deposition, which is not public. It's not a
That's
public
right.
hearing. It's a deposition, like in an investigation when you go in and you're put under oath and you're asked questions. There was always going to be a transcript. There was always going to be a camera recording because they will release that later. That's what they do. But the Clintons want it to be public because they want the political theater and they want people to be able to save them. And you get crazy ass people like Jasmine Crockett getting all crazy and distracting away because the narrative warfare, they can get their sound clips. That's all they care about because that's what they'll play on mainstream media over and over again. And they will completely ignore the substance.
That's right.
Maybe we need this, by the way. I haven't seen this either. We need this. If you can,
if you have that, can you send it to us?
Yep, send it to our DMs, please. This is like
earth
earth-shatteringly important.
I want to stay on this topic for a second because I don't know if you guys saw this or not, but Elon basically threw down the gauntlet last night. Did you guys see his post last night? Nom, can you pull that up for us?
Are you talking about the one where he said he would pay for the defense?
It's in there. Yeah, let's pull that up so everyone can see it. So one of the arguments that we've been hearing from these victims is that the reason why they're not willing to name names yet or at all is because they're worried about being sued. So last night, Elon Musk threw down the gauntlet and said, I will pay for the defense of anyone who speaks the truth about this and is sued for doing so. So that should remove any risk, right? That or concern that these victims might have in naming names. Because that's their stated reason for not doing it so far, right?
Well, they have their compensation plan. They had to sign a lot of things. They had to withdraw all their lawsuits if they had lawsuits filed. They had to agree to not file future lawsuits against the estate. They had to agree to a lot of things, including NDAs and things like that. So I'm sure that they are bound by NDAs and can't talk about these things. But why would the Democrats have put them all out there and said, we're going to read the names on the floor and then not go through with that and have string the victims along and having Reid Hoffman and all of these shitty ass people paying for ads and supporting this stuff? David Brock, it's all the same situation all over again. This is just narrative. The same way you have Thomas Massie pulling the bullshit he's pulling, going and looking at those files today, unredacted for 2 hours, seeing 6 names. I got 6 names. And they said, well, then give us those 6 names. And he's like, well, I'm going to give the DOJ an opportunity to correct their mistake. Shut up. You don't care about releasing anything. You care about the political theater. That's it.
That's all this is. Reid Hoffman out here funding any of this stuff when Reid Hoffman, I believe his name is mentioned more than just about anybody in those files. And he's confirmed to have been on that island multiple times. Reid Hoffman has a ton of culpability in what we've seen so far. So him out here funding this, and he knows, they all know for a fact that these women cannot legally name names. They don't want them naming names. All they want is the narrative. That's all they want. They want it to never be able to actually be solved or proven or disproven. They want to run this hoax endlessly. That's all this is. And Elon just gave them an out. And frankly, Congress could give them an out. Congress could pass a law and be like, hey, the whatever you signed with that victims fund, that's null and void. You by law, you cannot be tried civilly for that or sued civilly for that.
Well,
Congress could pass a law like that to do it.
They could subpoena them as well. They would have to answer questions if they're subpoenaed and under oath. But that's not what they care about. That's why you see them posting over and over again that Trump has mentioned 38,000 times in these 3 million documents. He's mentioned blah, blah, blah times. They don't tell you the context he's mentioned in. They give you nothing about it. Just that he's mentioned this many times. And this is why you get Jasmine Crockett today insinuating still that Trump has committed crimes against children. You have all of the Democrats repeating the same propaganda talking points because their NPC followers believe everything they're told.
That's right. Right. That's right. All right. So did you guys see, and I didn't watch the Super Bowl, so I don't know if this actually played, but I hear that the Epstein victims pulled together a commercial that was run during the Super Bowl.
It's funded by Reid Hoffman.
Is
Yeah,
that
I
true?
saw
It
it.
did.
It
All right.
says
So
right at the end the name. I don't know if it aired because I didn't even turn the TV on to that channel the entire time. I wasn't going to give a second of viewership to any of the Super Bowl. So I don't know if it aired, but I saw it.
I think this is it. So we're going to play this real quick. I want to show you guys something.
After years of being kept apart, we're standing together.
Standing together.
Because this girl deserves the truth.
Because she deserves the truth.
Because we all deserve the truth.
Now look at the name of that organization right there.
Yep.
That is funded by Reid Hoffman. It's funded by Tides. It's funded by lots of people. Go look it up.
Well, I'm going to put that back on the big screen, folks. You guys need to see this. The organization, worldwithoutexploitation.org. This organization, just as SK just accurately said, is funded by some of the exact same people who are shown repeatedly in the Epstein files, but it gets worse. It's also funded by the Tides Foundation. The Tides Foundation is a massive left-wing NGO that funds just about everything that you can possibly imagine designed to destroy the country.
The Color Revolution. They're involved in all of
Soros, Tides Foundation, Soros Group. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and Ford found all of them. So imagine my shock and surprise when we come across this check written
I sent that
by
to
the
you today,
Tides
too.
Foundation to Gerilyn Maxwell. So you mean to tell me that the organization that is funding the Super Bowl commercial pretending to advocate for these victims was writing a check also to Gerilyn Maxwell? Huh?
Because you guys,
What?
we've known this for decades. We've been reading the Epstein files for decades. What was available publicly, the court documents, all of this stuff. We are the only people that cared about this. The people on the right are the only people that cared about this because, not a single one of us would have voted for Donald Trump if there was a single shred of evidence that he committed any crimes against any kids. He wasn't even accused of any of these things until he was running for office. Okay. So you have to understand these people on the left they do not care. And some of the people on the right, they do not care at all about these files or what they say or going after anyone or justice for any of those women that they just exploited again for who knows how much money they paid them. They do not care. That is not the goal. The goal is narrative warfare. This is what Reid Hoffman and David Brock sat down and talked about and wrote a playbook about in 2016. Their goal was to bring down Donald Trump with accusations, and they were going to pay for it. They were going to pay women to come forward with stories. This is how you got E. Jean Carroll via George Conway, and then also Reid Hoffman and whatever that chick's name is, who her and her husband started the North Face. All of those people are involved.
I'm just, do you understand now why I'm starting to think that the victims that are being trotted out in front of the camera, there's just something strange about it all. I mean, I want to respect their perspective and demand accountability, but help me understand for a second why these people are being propped up, putting a Super Bowl ad out by an organization that is funded in part by Reid Hoffman, by the Tides Foundation, who receives its funding from George Soros. And you want to know who else the Tides Foundation gets their money from? Bill Gates.
Government.
Bill Gates.
But listen,
Bill Gates.
I'll tell you why it is. I guarantee you, and I don't know this for a fact, so allegedly, as a female looking at this from the outside, I guarantee you, not only were they paid, because a lot of women would not do that for being paid. I guarantee you, people that are actually guilty of these heinous crimes and these horrific things that were taking place, they threatened them. I guarantee you, they've been threatened, and they are going to do whatever it is that they're told to do and then on top of that, they're getting compensation. But I guarantee you there are threats involved because people are not going to willingly do this stuff.
It's just it baffles me. It almost feels like they're being used at this point for the furtherance of the color revolution, and they may or may not even know it.
No, they don't know it. I don't think they know it at all.
I think some of them do, and I think that's the problem. But I think a lot of them don't. I think they're just happy that somebody's finally listening to them. And here, by the way, many of us have been listening to you for a long time. A long time. And I'm just glad that American people are starting to pay attention. Now, I have one more topic I want to touch on with Epstein, and then we can figure out where to go next. So coming out of the Department of Justice giving access to those redactions today, congressperson after congressperson after congressperson are leaving that skiff, if you will, just furious at what they're seeing. And I'm starting to hear rumblings that there is concern that even some of the people who are claiming to be victims are in fact not, meaning they may have been involved in the recruitment of some of these girls also and are hiding behind this victim shield.
Yes,
So
that's been
we're going to
going
have to
on.
get to the bottom of that as well.
That's been going on since the Florida cases and in all of the lawsuits that's mentioned. Some of Epstein's assistants and people around him, including Ghislaine Maxwell, were, and to be fair, some of these people were victimized, but they participated. You had high school girls that were over the age of 18 that had been earning money by doing the stuff they were doing with Epstein, and they were recruiting their friends from their high school that were underage. And that's why they're making it clear to people that if you're over the age of 18, even if you were a victim and you were being paid to do these things with Epstein, if you're recruiting people and bringing them to be victimized, you are one of the abusers. That's a crime.
That's right. All right. Did you guys see Thomas Massie's statement? I think Thomas Massie might have actually just given the whole game away. One of the arguments that Nom, SK, and I have been making literally since the beginning of the Trump administration, when people started talking about the Epstein files again, was that we should not expect to get the truth out of the Epstein files, because the people that had control of these files for a very long time would have done everything they could possibly do to try to sanitize it and to hide the guilty among the innocent, which is why you see a bunch of FBI prank calls in there. You see a bunch of completely baseless allegations and accusations against people. You see an enormous amount of just slop in these files that don't really make any sense. It almost feels like there was an organized, intentional effort to try to pollute these files to the point where you don't really know what's in there, what it means, who's involved. And then Thomas Massie came out and said this. Nom, can you play the Thomas Massie clip real quick? You guys, I want you to listen closely to this. This is really important.
That would be probably the best way to do it.
So how much of the redactions you said that there are a lot of the documents, some of what you saw in there had redactions. How much new information then did you see that was unredacted, or did it look pretty similar to what we've seen publicly?
I mean, what we're after is the men who Jeffrey Epstein trafficked women to. We want those names published. We're not out to embarrass people. And the problem is we went in there hoping to see that in 302 forms. What we found out is those 302 forms were redacted before they got to the DOJ. So
wait, what? What did he just say? Did he just say those 302 forms were redacted before they got to the Department of Justice? Holy crap.
Guys, I'm surprised that any of these files still exist. I cannot believe when they were ordering those massive shredders and putting things in burn bags that they didn't destroy all of these documents.
Well,
the ones that were already redacted,
know.
they didn't have to worry about. You're right. We don't have to. We don't know. We don't know what's been destroyed and what's not been destroyed. You have nobody has any idea, which is the entire freaking point.
Guys,
then we just get to play the make believe game. Until President Trump's in prison for the rest of his life.
Understand how important that statement was that Thomas Massie just made. I don't even know if he realizes he did it.
Here, let's rewind it, start and play it again.
Yeah, we need to play this one more time. All right, listen.
They're
listen
hoping to see that in 302 forms. What we found out is those 302 forms were redacted before they got to the DOJ. So, but our legislation directs the FBI, who which is the agency that produced those 302 forms, to also produce these documents.
So you mean to tell me that by the time that Pam Bondi got her hands on the 302s, and by the way, Pam Bondi got her hands on those 302s, what, a month or so after Trump was inaugurated, which means those redactions had to have been put on those files years ago.
Remember when she found, well, the FBI found all of the documents that they found in the Southern District of New York, and Maureen Comey was fired?
They didn't find them. The Southern District of New York refused to turn them over. They had to go and take them from them. They had to go raid their own freaking, their own freaking.
They didn't know that there were like however many.
Yeah, they were refusing
there.
to turn them over. They had to go take them. Our FBI had to go to the Southern District of New York, raid that office, and take those documents because Maureen Comey's U.S. Attorney's Office was refusing to turn them over. James Comey's daughter, by the way, in case everybody was confused, Maureen Comey.
Yeah, and somebody's saying K Pasto is asking if the CIA is involved. Look.
Yeah. Yes.
They're
all involved. All of the agencies are involved.
I haven't finished the research yet, but Lisa and I have been looking into a lot of this stuff with Steve Bannon. And Steve, you know about Steve Bannon's involvement with Cambridge Analytica. The parent company of Cambridge Analytica is even worse. They operate in 60 different countries, and they literally do psyops. They like are open about the fact that they do psyops. So we've got a lot at play here because Steve Bannon was extremely involved with Epstein, and the things he was doing with Epstein were pretty disturbing. And I'm not making accusations about kids or any of that stuff. I'm talking about just his involvement with Epstein and what he was doing with trying to help him fix his image and doing all of those long interviews and tons of different stuff that they were talking about. The UK is involved in this. And I guarantee you, I don't know for a fact, but I will find it. All of the ties to the UK with Candace Owens and all the stuff that's going on, I'm telling you right now, it's got to be a psyop.
That's right. It is. So USC Damam asked the question, all of Epstein is a distraction. I'd like to know what for. I have a theory. You want to hear it? If you listen to the last couple of shows, you've already heard the theory. But I'm going to share it again for those who haven't. Here's my theory. So Jeffrey Epstein spent his life, his entire career, was moving money around the world for very important people. When he was at Bear Stearns, he learned a very important skill called money laundering. And he got very good at it. So good that he was tasked by intelligence agencies around the world to help them fund operations that they didn't want on their country's books. Iran-Contra, for example, and others. And buried deep inside of the Epstein files that were released a couple of weeks ago was this image right here. This is a picture of a framed news clipping of the day that the Twin Towers came down. And it says, New York Times, U.S. attacked. Almost like he was celebrating this. My theory...
Trophy.
It's a trophy. My theory is that the reason why Jeffrey Epstein was the most protected person in the world is because of what he knew. Not because of the blackmail that he had on people, because of the trafficking rings that he was running, but because he was involved in helping to fund stuff that was happening around the world. And because he's an egomaniac, he would keep trophies of it.
Look,
That's
you
my
guys,
theory.
I've said this a million times. 9/11 affected me like terribly. I was 18 years old. I was married and on my own for the first time. And I just had a baby that was 3 months old. And I was nursing all the hormones, all the feelings. I never even spent a night by myself. And I was living on my own with my husband and a baby at 18. It messed me up really bad. Really bad. I'm somebody who, when people talk about 9/11, I'm like, shh, don't tell me, because I just want to believe the official narrative and what we were told, because that's easier for me to comprehend and like reconcile. I do understand that it did not happen like they said that it happened. I get that, but I just can't. I just don't want to believe, just like I said about the Pizzagate stuff. This is just one of those things. I'm just going to pretend like the official narrative's real and we're just going to ignore it and pretend it doesn't exist. Okay.
So SK is going to live in a state of cognitive dissonance.
Yes.
All right. So
Call
I think
that
this
Pollyanna.
that's right. And this is one of the last things I want to talk about. So if you couple the revelation that Thomas Massie just perhaps slipped up and gave the American people, that by the time the Department of Justice received the 302s from the FBI, by the way, remember who was in charge of the FBI for the last 20 years? Christopher Wray, who was a Jim Comey lackey, and before him was Jim Comey, who we all know is involved in the Russian collusion hoax and everything else. And before him, Robert Mueller. So nothing but radical left-wing sycophants controlling the FBI had access to files that by the time they made it in the hands of the Department of Justice under Donald Trump had already been redacted. And then on the heels of that, part of a drop that just happened yesterday was a revelation that the FBI concluded Jeffrey Epstein wasn't running a sex trafficking ring for powerful men. The files show. Anybody want to take a wild guess at which FBI made that determination? And how they made it? It was in 2019 under Christopher Wray. So the Christopher Wray FBI, who, by the way, was working on a product of investigations that had been happening going all the way back to Robert Mueller. So Robert Mueller's investigation, Jim Comey's investigations, Christopher Wray's investigations, those three, the product of their investigations was determined by Christopher Wray in 2019 that there was no trafficking ring. And then by the time the Trump Department of Justice gets their hands on these, the actual co-conspirators that they believe should have been showing up on those 302s was already redacted.
Two things. Mimi points out Bush's picture. He's holding two planes knocking down two brick towers. But, which gives me chills. I don't even want to think about it.
I'll show it. We have it in the folder from two episodes ago.
Yeah. The other thing was Victoria Nuland not in the Bush administration and the Obama administration?
I don't know whether she was in Bush administration or not. Maybe someone can look that up
She's
real
a
quick.
Republican. A Republican.
Well,
let's be clear.
That's a very
kind of like
fluid
democracy.
That's a very fluid definition these days. That's funny. All right, folks. So do you guys understand now why Nom, SK, and I have for months have been arguing that the files that we're seeing are a sanitized and polluted version of the files? And it seems as though the people who have had access to those files had a lot of reason to make sure that nobody ever really saw the truth. So it begs the question, if people actually know the names of these co-conspirators and are not providing them, I have to ask why. And I think that's a fair question to ask, isn't it?
Oh my God. Victoria Nuland was the Deputy National Security Advisor to Vice President Dick Cheney from 2003 to 2005. And she served as the U.S. Permanent Representative to NATO from 2005 to 2008.
That makes sense. That all makes sense. That makes sense. Because you know who else was in these files, don't you? George H.W. Bush.
Well, yeah, I found that out the hard way. Whatever you do, don't go to the files in the search bar and put Bush in, because you're going to get a lot of things you're not expecting when you're looking for George W. Bush.
Probably a good idea. All right. Is that a good place to stop, or do you guys want to keep going? Because there's a couple other things.
No, I'm seriously going to go on mute and turn my mic.
No, we can move on from her. Do you guys want to do the Scott, what's his name? Jenkins?
Scott Jennings.
Why do I always get his name wrong? Play the Scott Jennings.
I want to go down this Victoria Nuland rabbit hole and see who all the holdovers were through Bush. And I mean, that's crazy.
We'll do it. Bring it on Wednesday. All right. So we've got a clip that Nom thought was so funny and important that he had to make a video on it on TikTok the other day. And I saw his video. I was like, I need you to send me that because I wanted to make one, but I didn't. So now we get to respond to it.
Cool.
Maybe.
Oh, somebody's asking about Gina Haspel. Listen, don't
Yeah, I
get me
just saw that
started on
stop. I'm
Gina.
like,
Don't get me started on Gina Haspel. 'cause
Yes,
Gina
we have an opinion on Gina Haspel. Gina Haspel. Go ahead, SK.
Gina Haspel is the one that when those Antony Blinken reached out to Michael Morrell to write that letter saying that the Hunter Biden laptop was Russian disinformation. She is the one that was in the CIA that made sure that that letter, after it was signed by the 51 intel agents, that it went directly to the pre-publication classification review board and was approved for release within hours. She had it expedited so that it could be released.
Well, there's a reason for that. Did you know that she was also the CIA bureau chief of the British CIA office at the time that Christopher Steele and Richard Dearlove and MI whatever was cooking up the Steele dossier? She was in charge of all that.
How are these people not being tried for treason and like executed publicly?
SK, we don't know that they're not yet, because remember, there is a series of grand juries taking place down in Southern Florida right now.
That's true. That's true.
And by the way, if you think that some of the people that are covered under the Epstein file redactions currently are not part of those grand juries, you're not paying attention, because the law currently requires them to be redacted if they are involved in ongoing investigations, which happen to be taking place down in Southern Florida through a course of series of grand juries.
And I know I get impatient. Patience is not one of my virtues. And it's something I'm afraid to ask for because I know terrible things have to come to get patience. But I know that it takes time. So logically, I know that it takes time, and I know that they're working, and I'm not a black pillar. I don't think that they're not doing anything, but I do get impatient.
Are all of the JAG lawyers still in DC? No, there's JAG lawyers all over the place right now helping to pick up the overflow of immigration cases.
by the way, that's gone on for years.
Yep.
JAG officers for years have gone into U.S. attorneys' offices to help them deal with backlogged cases. This is nothing new. This has been going on for a very, very, very long time.
All right.
Can we play Scott Jennings?
Wait, what? While we're talking about JAG real quick, does anybody know what ended up happening with Mark Kelly? Because didn't Hegseth say something even today about it?
Yeah, we probably need to follow up. I don't know.
I think he got like demoted, or I don't know if it was like finalized.
Yeah, I think he was. Well, I don't know. I know that he was being court-martialed. They were going to demote. I think he was going to lose some. I don't know. Let's not speculate. Let's find out.
Well, he was going to like lose some retirement, and they were going to demote him and lose some rank or something. I don't know.
That's just symbolic. It doesn't, and that's not going to impact him at all.
No. Yeah, I mean, it will. It'll impact his retirement payout. I mean, everything. He's
a sitting senator. He's going to retire with hundreds of thousands of dollars in retirement. And he's also going to retire with millions of dollars of weird money that just shows up in random places as he's a sitting senator. So from a financial standpoint, no impact at all. And I don't think he cares.
But it's also going to be very, very embarrassing for. Yeah, fair enough. All right. Now we're going on to Scott Jennings. Ready? Go.
Yep.
You know how much housing costs went up during the Biden years.
It went up significantly, but why add to them by adding tariffs? They didn't go down in the last year. They're actually raising the cost by tariffs.
You're talking about due to interest rates. You mean like buying a home? Is that what you're talking about?
Yes, prices of housing went up 20-30% during the 4 years that Joe Biden was in. Some of the arguments we're having about housing in the United States and how expensive it is, the bulk of it came while Biden was president. What Scott Besson is saying is objectively true. We do have a housing shortage in this country. So we already have too few domiciles for the people who are here. His point was simply that if you put 10 or 20 million new people into the pool, whether they're illegal or not, that is going to increase competition for the already short supply of housing. If you already have a shortage of something and you add 20 million people who are trying to get that something,
I guess what
necessarily
I'm asking for,
you're going to have a problem.
I guess what I'm asking for is actual proof of that being.
There's no correlation between the.
Are these the dumbest people on the planet?
I mean,
more people trying to buy fewer commodities.
Listen, I'm asking you, is there proof that what you are saying actually happened? Because the immigrants came,
but no.
The prices were what they were.
Is there proof that actually happened? I think that Scott is actually right on the 50,000 point view. I think 50,000 foot view.
Okay, I can't.
Listen. I debated this every single day. This was my argument to people that were like, what about the price of housing? And they'd start going into all the corporations and all this crap. This is exactly what I would argue. They do not understand simple supply and demand. It applies to everything. It applies to housing. It applies to toilet paper. Think back to 2020 when you couldn't find toilet paper. That's supply and demand, my friends.
These are supposed to be the smartest people that the left has to offer. And she's demanding proof that housing prices actually went up after watching them go up 30% over 4 years at the same time that millions of people were flooding into the country.
They are actual NPCs. They are parrots. They repeat the propaganda they're told. They do not think independently and ask questions at all.
I don't understand. Like, how can you be so epically stupid and get a microphone like that? How is that even possible?
I mean, my question here is this: when I did a video on this, my question was: are they really this stupid?
Yes.
Or do they actually already know the answer? But to SK's point, they are just NPCs, and all they're allowed to do is read what is on the paper in front of them, and then they have to argue at that point, no matter how stupid they know it sounds.
I would agree that is possible had I not looked at her face when she was asking for proof. She honestly looked totally bewildered. She looked like, what? I don't understand. What are you saying?
When you spend hours and hours and hours and hours listening to these crazy people on the left talk in these conferences and in these Zoom meetings and all of this, there's a portion of these people that truly believe the words that they're saying. They're so brainwashed, they actually believe what they're saying is true.
It's so stupid. Folks, these people really are as dumb as you think they are. I don't know how else to put it. They're not smart people. And these are the people who think that you should trust them to be responsible with managing the entire means of production for an economy.
Oh, well, come on, guys. Everybody will be so prosperous. And you'll have all these people that don't want to get up and go to work because they need a mental health day. And they can just take one because they're getting universal basic income. It's going to be great for everybody. Everybody's going to have a nice house and a nice car. Come on, guys.
Where's the universal basic income going to come from? Does anyone know?
Andrew Yang thinks it's going to be through productivity and efficiency from AI.
I mean, AI may contribute to that, sure. But I think we got a $40 trillion debt that we got to worry about first. Before we start worrying about cutting a bunch of checks to people.
Yeah.
Anyway,
listen, I want everybody to understand. Go back and watch that video. You can find it. Scott Jennings stuff is everywhere. Understand that the same people that could not comprehend basic laws of economics and supply and demand are the exact same ones who are telling you, yeah, listen, we know that socialism and communism has failed everywhere it's been tried, but we are smart enough to do it this time.
Yeah, but we haven't done it.
We are the ones.
When
we are the ones that are going, yes, we are so much smarter, even though we don't understand supply and demand is it's like physics, right? It just is. It just is. I mean, you can't you can't fight it. You could try to fight it, but then you get failed communist states and over and over again. That's why they fail, because it's the law of economics. It's basically a law of physics. It just is.
Right. And Jake makes a great point when he said something. What does everyone just start out at like $540,000 a year or what? Yes. So like when you go to places like Mexico and things cost like $4,000 and it's actually like $2. That's why.
That's right.
4,000 pesos.
That's right.
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna wrap here in a second, but A. Beaverhausen has sent us another Rumble rant. She says, I just bought A Revolution of Common Sense by Scott Jennings and The Indivisible Coup by Peter Schweitzer. I've not read either of those, but they sound fantastic. So let us know how they are. I'm interested in hearing them.
Rumble crashed for me. I couldn't get it to work on my phone anymore.
Yeah, it's still working. I see it. All right. Anything else, guys? I think that's a wrap for us, isn't it? I think so. Wednesday,
Wrap it up.
we may have a special guest on Wednesday. We'll keep you surprised.
I haven't asked her yet, but I will.
You just gave it away. You totally just gave it away. You should have
No, I
used
didn't. It could be anyone.
non-gender specific pronouns like they. I haven't asked them yet. All right, so we may have a special guest on Wednesday, and if so, we're super excited to have them back. If not, we'll have some fun content for you anyway. Can we do real quick, just a favor? I just want to play this one more time.
Nothing's gonna ever keep you down from the best around. Nothing's gonna ever keep you down from the best around.
See, that audio actually works in a lot of different places, not only when we're winning, but just saying goodnight because you're the best around.
Wax
We love you guys.
Wax.
Thank you for joining us. We'll see you on Wednesday, same time, same place, 9:30.
Good night, guys.
Here we go. Here's the buffer out music.
The bullets and the punches and the riots have been flowing in only one direction for too long.
I've been trying to tell you guys this whole time how corrupt all of these things were, and here we are.
It is not our responsibility to fix something they spent years intentionally trying to destroy. Unity can only happen in a country when you have a people who agree on what the outcome should be.